All right, so you want to get smart, huh? Most places will tell you that getting there takes, I don't know, 12 years stuck in school, another 4 grinding through college. Then, for the real overachievers, or another 6 drowning in textbooks for grad school. And at the end of it all, well, you're not so much smart as you are a bit too familiar with instant noodles and job rejections. Not even trying to be funny here, that's just how it plays out sometimes. But hey, silver lining. When you end up venting on Reddit about how the job market is a complete joke, at least you'll be able to articulate your frustration with flawless grammar. That's something, right? So, if it wasn't already obvious from the title, picking up some brain power is actually, not that complicated. Even if you've convinced yourself that your genes are setting you up for failure, relax, you're still way ahead of every other living thing on the planet. Like, no offense to dolphins or whatever, but last I checked, they're not building rocket ships. Now, when regular folks like you and me say we want to get smarter, we're not just talking about knowing random facts for trivia night. We want useful skills, ideally the kind that bring in cash. We want to crack tough problems again, preferably with some dollar signs attached. And, of course, there's always that little part of us that wants to flex. Better grades, harder subjects, all so we can casually show off in conversation. Just enough to get some respect, but not so much that people start side-eyeing you like you're some kind of human encyclopedia. The issue? Most of the advice floating around online is either so broad and philosophical that only Socrates and Oprah could actually make sense of it, or it's just the same recycled brain hacks you've seen a million times. Eat blueberries, they're magic for your neurons. Black coffee makes you focus. Sleep 8 hours. Listen to Mozart. Look, all of that sounds nice, but at some point, you actually have to, learn things. And besides, some of history's biggest geniuses barely slept, lived off questionable diets, and spent their days glued to a desk. So clearly, there's more to it than just drinking kale smoothies. So, what can you actually do to get smarter without wasting your time on another 6 easy tricks to boost your IQ article that was probably copy-pasted from some subway graffiti? One word, read. Yeah, groundbreaking advice, I know. But hear me out, what you read matters. Fiction? Great for picking up speed, beefing up your vocabulary, and making you feel slightly less like a social outcast if you're drowning in dialogue. But nonfiction? That's the secret sauce for dropping random bits of knowledge in conversation without sounding like you're trying too hard. Picture this. You're at some casual get-together and someone says, "Man, crazy how we evolved from chimps, right?" Now, you could just nod along, or you could hit them with, "Well, actually, evolution isn't a straight line, and for a long time, multiple human-like species existed at the same time. None of them were even close to being chimps. Congratulations! You've just won the respect of history nerds and probably annoyed everyone else in the room. But hey, that's the risk you take. The trick, though, is knowing when to stop. Because while a well-placed fact can make you sound insightful, starting every sentence with, "Well, actually," is a one-way ticket to being the person nobody invites back. Okay, so you want to sound smart without coming off like the kind of person who corrects people at parties? Fair enough. The trick, in a way, is not just knowing stuff, it's knowing how to talk about it without making everyone around you feel like they should have stayed home. And yeah, that's a bit of an art. Let's redo that whole evolved from chimpanzees thing. Somebody says, "Crazy how we came from chimps, right?" Now, you could hit them with a full-on science lecture, but instead maybe go, "Yeah, that's what I used to think too, but I was reading this thing the other day, and apparently humans and chimps just kind of grew up next to each other, like neighbors who took very different life paths. See? You sound informed, but not like you're trying to apply for a job as their biology teacher." Now, if you want to be the kind of smart that people actually like being around, the key, and I mean this, is making people feel smarter when they talk to you. Share what you know without making them feel like they just lost a pop quiz. When you explain something, do it in a way that leaves room for curiosity instead of shutting the conversation down. You want them thinking, "Wow, I actually learned something," not, "Cool, I'm never speaking again." Anyway, you're probably wondering where to get all this knowledge without reading the same 5 books that every self-improvement blog won't shut up about. And honestly, it's so much easier than people make it sound. Let's say you want to learn about, I don't know, cleaning. Just type books about cleaning into Google and see what pops up. Now, yeah, some of those books cost money, but, sometimes fingers slip. And if, by complete accident, you end up on a website where the book just happens to be available for free, well, these things happen. One minute you're clicking links, and the next, you've got an entire library of ebooks. Strange world, right? But here's the thing. Reading the book isn't enough. You have to actually use the stuff you learn, or your brain's going to decide it's trivia and dump it. Let's say you read a chapter on cleaning bedrooms, get up and clean one. Doesn't even have to be your bedroom. Just any room with a mess. Once you've done it, the knowledge sticks. You're never forgetting how to fold a fitted sheet after wrestling with one for 20 minutes. Okay, but what if it's something you can't practice right away? Like, say you're reading about how to jumpstart a car, but you don't exactly have two vehicles sitting around waiting for you to play mechanic. No problem. Just picture it. Imagine you're stranded in a parking lot, rain pouring down, and your car's as dead as a reality show career. Walk through every step in your head, finding the cables, connecting them right, not electrocuting yourself. Your brain won't know the difference. It's going to think you actually did it, and that knowledge will stick. This is why schools make you take tests, by the way. They know most of the stuff you learn won't matter for like 15 years. So they create these fake emergencies called exams to trick your brain into caring. And yeah, sometimes that's enough to get you to remember. At least until the test's over, then it's back to forgetting algebra ever existed. Now, some people swear by fancy study methods, spaced repetition, mind mapping, whatever. But if you really want stuff to stick, you've got to practice like the real thing. If there's no practice questions, make your own. And yeah, raise the stakes. Pretend you're hanging off the edge of a cliff, and the only way someone pulls you up is if you can list all the parts of a human cell. Dramatic? Sure. Effective? Absolutely. So, if you're serious about getting smart fast, you'll want to go straight to textbooks. They cut out all the fluff, no motivational speeches, no filler, just pure info, and enough practice questions to make your brain sweat. And if you get stuck, you'll be flipping back to some obscure page number written in Roman numerals. Textbooks aren't for the casual learner, they're more like the mental equivalent of a boot camp. Sure, watching a YouTube video might be more fun, but you'll forget most of it by the time the next ad break rolls around. If you're up for the challenge, though, well, there's this website you could, accidentally stumble onto. But before you do that, maybe hit that subscribe button. Support the cause and all that.